of men and women, we beseech you to behold with your abundant favor us, your servants, whom you have called to the performance of important trusts in these islands. Father, let your blessing descend upon us here assembled, and grant that we may treat and consider all matters that shall come under our deliberation in so just and faithful a manner as to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of these islands and of those whose interest you have committed to our charge. And this we beg in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. May the grace of our Lord Jesus Christ and the love of God and the fellowship of the Holy Spirit be with us all evermore. Amen. Please be seated. Item number 2, the confirmation of minutes. Senator Michelle Simmons, Vice President, you have the floor.
Good morning, Madam
And
President,
good morning to
fellow
you.
senators, and the listening audience. Madam President, I move that the minutes of the meeting of Wednesday, the 8th of June, be taken as read.
Is there any objection to that motion? No objection.
Madam President, I move that the minutes of Wednesday, the 8th of June, 2022, be confirmed.
Is there any objection to that motion? No objection. Thank you, Senator Michelle Simmons, Vice President. Item number 3, messages.
No messages, Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. Sumner. Item number 4, reports of committees. There are none. Item number 5, announcements. We do have, I will just like to say that we do have apologies from Senator John White and opposition leader in the Senate, Senator Ben Smith, who are abroad. Item number 6, notices of motions. We have 2, and they're in the name of Senator Lindsey Simmons, Junior Minister for Home Affairs. Senator Lindsey Simmons, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I hereby present for the consideration of Senate the Northeast Hamilton Local Plan 2022, together with the tribunal report on the draft Northeast Hamilton Local Plan 2021, which is required to be approved by resolution of the Senate under the provisions of Section 11(8) of the Development and Planning Act 1974. And I give notice that at the next day of meeting, I will move that the said Northeast Hamilton Plan 2022 be approved.
Thank you, Senator Simmons, Lindsey Simmons, and you have the second notice of motion. Oh, yeah. I missed that. Sorry. Thank you, Senator Lindsey Simmons.
Thank you.
Item number 7, petitions. There are none. Item number 8, statements. There are none. Item number 9, introduction of bills. There are none. Item number 10, the first reading of public bills. There are none. Item number 11, first reading of private bills. There are none. Item number 12, question and question period. There are none. Item number 13, orders of the day. The first order of the day is the second reading of the Land Valuation and Tax Amendment Act 2022, and that is in the name of Senator Ariana Hudson, the Junior Minister for Finance. Senator Hudson, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I move that the bill entitled the Land Valuation and Tax Amendment Act 2022 be now read a second time.
Is there any objection to that motion? No objection. Carry on, Senator.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I am pleased to present the bill entitled the Land Valuation and Tax Amendment Act 2022. This bill seeks to amend the Land Valuation and Tax Act 1967 to provide land tax relief for residential care facilities and nursing homes. It is estimated that this proposed change will provide land tax relief totaling $65,947 for the 12 residential care facilities and nursing homes currently not receiving relief. Madam President, the relief provided by this bill does not break new ground. In fact, Madam President, by an order under the 1967 Act Lefroy House, along with other properties, including those of the Bermuda National Trust and the Bermuda Audubon Society, they were all made exempt from land tax. Further, Madam President, since 1975, Westmead Care Home has also enjoyed an exemption from land tax. The relief provided by this bill fulfills the government's commitment to ensuring equity in the application of the laws we pass. Madam President, Senate members may recall that during the budget statement delivered earlier this year, the Honorable Premier and Minister of Finance announced the government's intention to eliminate land tax for registered residential care facilities and nursing homes. As a government, we promised relief now and more relief to come, and are proud of our record of having recently reduced the cost of private car license fees by 10%, instituted no across-the-board increase in government fees, reduced payroll tax for workers making less than $96,000 for the third time since taking office in 2017, and rejected recent requests to increase the price of fuel. However, Madam President, with that said, it is not lost upon us that more work is to be done. Like many other businesses, residential care facilities and nursing homes continue to face significant challenges brought on by the ongoing impact of COVID-19. These facilities continue to provide essential services to the community, and so it is imperative we identify viable options of relief that will help alleviate some of the financial pressures these facilities are now facing while respecting the prescribed fiscal guardrails. Madam President, this bill will eliminate land tax for these facilities by excluding the underlying properties from the valuation list, which serves as the basis for land tax assessments. Only those residential care homes and nursing homes licensed in accordance with the Residential Care Homes and Nursing Home Act 1999 will be eligible for relief from land tax pursuant to this bill. Madam President, it is important to note that residential care facilities and nursing homes are required to be licensed periodically by the Bermuda Health Council. A register of licensed homes must be maintained by the Bermuda Health Council and made publicly available. An annual review of the register will be conducted by the Office of the Tax Commissioner to ensure that only those facilities that maintain a valid license issued by the Bermuda Health Council will continue to benefit from land tax relief. Madam President, there are some who may say that this is not enough for our care homes. However, Madam President, that would ignore the fact that the additional support that the government has given to our care homes over the last 2 years during this pandemic. We have worked to assist these homes in difficult circumstances, and last week the Cabinet approved an additional grant boost to nursing homes who currently receive grants from the Ministry of Social Development and Seniors to stabilize their finances. Madam President, in addition to this additional grant, the Cabinet has requested the Ministry of Health and the Ministry of Social Development and Seniors to update the 2017 Long-Term Care Plan to ensure that our nursing homes will be on solid financial ground in the future. As our population ages, we must do all that we can to ensure that our seniors can live in dignity. Madam President, in closing, let it be without question, the Bermuda government reveres its seniors. As Gandhi poignantly articulated, the true measure of any society can be found in how it treats its most vulnerable members. As a government, we kept our promise to our seniors by expanding home health care benefits. We kept our promise to our seniors to expand prescription drug coverage under Future Care. We kept our promise to increase pensions for our seniors to keep up with inflation. We kept our promise to introduce interest-free loans for home modifications so that our seniors can age well at home. And with this bill, we keep yet another promise to provide more relief to Bermuda's residents and businesses. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Senator Ariana Hudson, Junior Minister for Finance. Would any senator care to speak on this bill? Senator DeCuto, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Overall, we certainly welcome this relief for the nursing homes, and we're pleased to support it. We know that this is an important move, especially taking care of our elderly, one of our important treasured resources. I certainly hope and look forward to the government doing even more in this area. There's quite a lot to be done, and there are many people in our society who are suffering. So this is a good first step, and we look forward to more in this vein. I believe I learned that this was worth around $66,000 across 12 nursing homes. So I think that's around $5,500 for each nursing home. So it's a good start, and we look forward to more being done. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Senator DeCuto. Would any other senator care to speak on this bill? Senator Michelle Simmons, Vice President, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. I just want to add my support to this bill. It is certainly welcomed by the residential care facilities. It's welcomed by members of the community who are clients of those facilities. Hopefully, it will go a long way to, or go some way to helping those facilities to plan for the future, because right now I know many of them are struggling. So well done to the government for bringing this forward as promised. And yes, I agree. There's more that can be done, but we have to be aware of the needs throughout the community as government addresses its social program. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Senator Michelle Simmons. Would any other senator care to speak on this bill? Senator Robin Tucker, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. I would just like to join with my Senate colleagues in their sentiments as it relates to, clearly this is a contribution. So any contribution is a good contribution. I would also like to reiterate, though, that that more should definitely be done. I mean, as we have heard we've all heard at different times about the fact that we have an aging population. And the numbers of people, there's approximately 25% of our population that's going to be at retirement age by 2026, which is, for all intents and purposes, around the corner. So I would hope that the government is looking at or more closely at other initiatives that can be done that can help also to support our seniors as more people are added to those numbers. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Senator Robin Tucker. Would any other senator care to speak on this bill? Hearing none, then Senator Hudson, is over to you.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I move that Rule 26 be suspended in respect of this.
Second
Sorry,
reading first.
Madam President. I move that the bill entitled the Land Valuation and Tax Amendment Act 2022 be now read a second time.
Is there any objection to that motion? No objection.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that Rule 26 be suspended in respect of this bill.
Is there any objection to that motion? No objection.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that the bill entitled the Land Valuation and Tax Amendment Act 2022 be now read a third time.
Is there any objection to the third reading? No objection.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that the bill do now pass.
It has been moved that the bill entitled the Land Valuation and Tax Amendment Act 2022 do now pass. Is there any objection to that motion? No objection. The bill is passed. Thank you, Senator Ariana Hudson, and thank you all senators. We'll now move on to the second item on our orders of the day, and that is the Electricity Amendment Act 2022, and that is in the name of Senator Lindsay Simmons, Junior Minister for Home Affairs. Senator Simmons, Lindsay Simmons, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I move that the bill entitled Electricity Amendment Act 2022 be now read a second time.
Is there any objection to that motion? No objection.
Thank you. Madam President, I rise to introduce for the second reading the bill entitled the Electricity Amendment Act 2022. The bill seeks to introduce a new type of license, an innovative license, thus providing a regulatory sandbox for testing innovative energy technologies. Madam President, before the onset of COVID-19 and the economic challenge that followed in the wake of this, the government recognized the need to find ways in which both local entrepreneurs and foreign investors could be attracted to establish business in Bermuda. The stress that the events of the past 2 years have brought upon Bermuda has made efforts to encourage innovative investors and imperative for this government. Madam President, the Electricity Act 2016 was written specifically to exclude innovators at that time due to the potential magnitude of risk to our grid and consequently to Bermuda's residents and businesses. This was with good reason, as independent regulator could not yet have had the capacity to elevate any potential newcomers, and avoiding risk altogether was a prudent action. The regulatory authority, RA, has now been operating for almost 5 years in the electricity sector and more than 9 years independently regulating the electronic communication sector. It is a natural progression, therefore, to entrust the regulations of the evolution of electricity sector to the RA as we move forward in achieving the goals in the integrated resource plan. Madam President, to achieve a meaningful different result from the status quo of fossil fuel generated electricity, there had to be a meaningful different framework. Bermuda can hope for a lower carbon future while holding onto the frameworks that supported mostly fossil fuel generated electricity. Excluding advancements in the renewable energy sphere like floating wind, floating solar, and ocean wave technology would mean that the only means by which Bermuda's electricity can be generated is limited to a handful of tried and true solutions, some of which may not be suitable for our island setting. Madam President, recently credible innovators have been approaching Bermuda seeking to develop innovative solutions for electricity generated offshore in our oceans, ranging from floating solar, photovoltaic arrays, floating offshore winds, and ocean wave technologies. Any of these innovators could be game changers for the future of electricity generations in Bermuda if proven to not only be operational feasible, but economically viable. Attracting innovators mean attracting investment and the potential of creating jobs, which is something we must all do our part to achieve in these challenging economic times. Madam President, however, in no way should the stability of the electricity grid ever be put at risk. Bermuda's very prosperity has depended historically on a stable and reliable electricity service, providing energy to our international business sectors and to our tourism sectors alike. Plainly stated, risking grid stability puts the reputation of Bermuda at risk. Madam President, I must emphasize that these amendments do not fling open the gates, but rather provide a measure of structured manner in which these innovators might introduce their technologies. Under the proposed amendment, innovators will be subject to scrutiny to ensure the credibility as developers and will have to meet a series of requirements before being allowed to connect to the grid. Provided these requirements are met, the innovators will have the opportunity to test their innovative technologies in Bermuda. These proposed amendments, with the proper safeguards, may not only invite energy investors to Bermuda, but may also help in lowering the overall cost of electricity, thereby also having an indirect effect of increasing Bermuda's appeal to investors in other areas which require a large amount of electricity. Madam President, the Ministry of Home Affairs and regulatory authorities have been in discussions over the past 2 years to assess what policies changes need to be framed by amendments to allow such a sandbox. Currently, no exceptions can be made to the requirement for a license for the operations of Bermuda. These proposed sandbox amendments would allow for a different process, one that embraces innovation and introduces a special type of license for novel solutions, namely an innovative license. This license is for finite period, long enough to provide viability. Madam President, it is not enough for an inventor to merely experiment. However, it is also necessary for the innovator to provide commercial viability. Therefore, holders of the inventor license will also need to be able to interconnect to the grid, provide technical requirements to do so are met. Holders of innovative licenses will be allowed to test, provide, and eventually market their developments to Bermuda public in accordance with the Integrated Resource Plan to provide alternatives to the current fossil fuel generated power. Madam President, the rigor of this process goes from inception to end of life, as innovators will hold the license that will have conditions. For example, if the innovator is unsuccessful in providing their technology, the Act provides that the developer will be obliged to remove and dispose of the equipment. On the other hand, if the technology proves itself well commercially, the amendment will allow that it may be used to meet goals of the Integrated Resource Plan. Madam President, it can be confusing at times consuming from a foreign investor to navigate through the various departments to secure all the necessary permits or authorizations. These amendments allow for the RA to be the primary central point of contact, through which all permits are obtained. This is a one-stop shop approach, makes it easy to attract innovators, both foreign and local, to explore the possibilities for their technology in the local settings. Fees will be collected aligned with those used for the submarine communication sector, since most developments will likely be in our near and offshore exclusive economic zone. Madam President, concerns have been raised about obtaining an independent environmental assessment that would also require public consultation. This bill actually enshrines this requirement in the legislation. There has also been concerns raised about the impact on our environment and our delicate biodiversity. The honorable members will remember in Minister Rubin's November 2021 press conference introducing Seabass Limited, he spoke on the specific decisions that were undertaken by the Department of Environment and Natural Resources, DENR, to identify an area that could be used to test wave technologies. That information bears repeating. DENR held multiple consultations with stakeholders, including the Ministry of Transport, the Ministry of Public Works, the Marine Resources Board, and the Commercial Fisheries Council. DENR had to ensure that the locations would provide the needed amount of wave energy, produce minimal disruption to shipping lanes, strike a balanced approach with the fishing industries in that area, have no impact on whales that might be migrating throughout the area, or on areas where commercial import fish species may spawn. Not harm protected species, including coral and seagrass, and avoid impact to the marine heritage. Madam President, I would also like to take the opportunity to remind the public about the Three Speech commitment that the government will be introducing a Marine Development Act. The Purpose Act, which is being progressed by the Bermuda Ocean Prosperity Program, will include a marine spectral plan similar to the Bermuda Plan that will, one, protect 20% of our exclusive economic zone, and two, identify areas that we will introduce sustainable industries such as renewable energy. I stress this point to remind honorable members that our endeavors to attract new investors and developers will require environmental impact assessments both on our lands and in our shores. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Senator Lindsay Simmons. Before I open the floor to senators to comment, I would just like to acknowledge the presence in the chamber of the Permanent Secretary for Home Affairs, Mrs. Razia Azar, as well as the Director of Energy, Jeannie Nicolai. Thank you and welcome to you both. Would any senator care to speak on this bill? Senator Robin Tucker, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. First, I'd like to thank the Junior Minister for bringing this bill to us today, which amends the Principal Act, otherwise known as the Electricity Act 2016. We clearly are all affected by the high cost of energy, particularly as it relates to electricity, not only in Bermuda, but in other jurisdictions as well. I can say, and I'm happy to say, that the opposition is in support of this bill, which focus is the support and expansion of innovation in the electricity sector by creating an environment whereby new technologies may be developed and tested in Bermuda. That's a big deal, and it's an exciting thing, I think. It's a positive thing that ensuring that the right environmental and other conditions already mentioned by the Junior Minister in Bermuda, that Bermuda can open itself to becoming a test bed for unlocking technological innovations with the licenses issued by the regulatory authority after it's satisfied that all the criteria has been met. The bill also allows for licensees to be able to create a new electrical generating system that can dismantle the electricity generating industry as we know it. That potential is there for what this bill is doing. And it has potential to give rise to technologies that will have a positive impact on the planet and increase electrical system efficiencies and hopefully give birth to a new industry for and in Bermuda. And once a successful technology is created, it can lend hopefully to reducing costs for Bermuda. I do have a couple of questions. I would like to know if the junior minister can tell us if there are any individuals or companies that have already expressed a serious interest or commitment to testing their technologies in Bermuda and are anxiously awaiting the legislation to be passed. Can I ask all my questions and then, or do you want me to just wait?
No, you have three.
Madam- Yes.
and so- Yes,
Yes. I would like to.
yes, you
Oh,
can.
sorry, Madam President.
No, I'm saying you can ask all your questions.
Okay, thank you. My second question is whether the junior minister can just clarify, maybe just for me, but if she can just clarify whether the regulatory authority will have sole responsibility for revoking any licenses if the licensee fails to meet requirements. And the third question is, will there be continual oversight by the regulatory authority or any other entity for the lifetime that the license is granted to ensure that the applicant continues to meet requirements? Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Senator Robin Tucker. Would any other senator care to speak on this bill? Minister Pete, oh. I see
Yes,
Senator
thank you,
Goodrow.
Madam President. I certainly want to thank the junior minister as well as the substantive minister and the entire ministry for this particular bill. I think this type of conversation and this type of action on behalf of the government really sort of encapsulates the desires and wishes of all Bermudians, both old and young alike. So I'm really, really glad to be a part of this particular process as relates to the government's commitment to shaping Bermuda as a center for innovation. This is a huge deal for our country as relates to the opportunity that we have in this particular sector. And we certainly want to do everything we can to encourage energy technology developers to our shores. This sandbox regulatory amendment certainly opens up the opportunity for these innovative companies to really bring Bermuda to the forefront as relates to these technologies. So overall, Madam President, this type of legislation aligns with the government's effort to reduce energy costs for the country. I personally believe we certainly need more solutions like this to help us to move away from our dependence on fossil fuels as relates to the environment, as relates to the costs, et cetera, et cetera. So thank you to the ministry. Thank you to the junior minister for a comprehensive brief. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister Pete, government leader in the Senate. Would any other senator care to speak? Senator Michelle Simmons, Vice President, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. I would like to also thank the junior minister for her presentation this morning and also state that while it is really, really critical to look at ways to reduce the cost of electricity generation in Bermuda, I think it's also quite commendable to be looking at innovative ways of reducing our carbon footprint. That to me is a really important deal, especially since we see the after effects in the neighborhood in which our chief electrical generation plant operates.
Mm-hmm.
We hear constantly from people who live in the neighborhood about how their lives have been impacted by the fallout from the burning of heavy industrial oil. And any way of reducing the impact on the environment would be welcomed by me. So I'm really glad to see that we would like to attract innovators to our shores to help us to do two things: to reduce the cost of electricity and also to reduce our carbon footprint. Two important deals, and I commend the government for bringing this forward. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Senator Michelle Simmons, Vice President. Senator DeCouto, recognize you. You have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Like those who've spoken before me, especially my colleague, Senator Tucker, certainly in support of this welcome innovation. Anything to reduce our reliance on imported oil is going to be vital to help our economy. This is a costly reliance on sending money overseas, and it certainly impacts individuals' pocketbooks and the entire economy. So this is a great innovation. And we know also with global inflation coming that the benefits of this innovation will be even greater, especially for those whom the energy consumption is a larger portion of their pocketbook at the lower end of the economic ladder. I certainly, certainly supporting this, would also encourage the government to please keep supporting and encouraging the tried and true techniques such as the existing techniques of solar power generation, and find ways to expand the usage of that, especially for those on the lower end of the economic spectrum who in fact will benefit the most from it. I echo Senator Simmons' comments on the benefit of this to the environment as well. I probably won't harp much more on that. I do have a few questions to follow on my colleagues. I would like to understand how we will invite proposals into this innovation framework. For example, will there be an RFP? Where will that be published? How will we advertise that? And how will we provide access to the process of getting into this innovation framework? I think equal access and transparency of that will be important to make sure we get the widest possible set of people coming into this. And I do have a bit of a question. I know that the bill is, this is my second question, if you don't mind, Madam President. I know that the bill addresses things such as environmental cleanup or getting rid of your stuff when you're done with the experiment. I hope that we end up in a place where these experiments end up being not just useful for the people running the innovation experiment, who will then learn and then go and take it to another larger market, but that ultimately ends up working out in the long term for Bermuda's benefit. And I wonder if the junior minister could comment on how that is going to be handled above and beyond this strictly cleaning up equipment in the environment. So in short, few questions, but support. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Senator Dekutu. Would any other senator care to comment or ask a question? Hearing none, then we'll just wait till Senator Simmons gets her responses from the permanent secretary and director. Mhm.
Madam President, I will answer Senator Tucker's questions first. So yes, CBAS has expressed interest. It was stated last year by Minister Rabin, but they are subject to qualify for the license just like anybody else. And yes, only the RA can revoke licenses. And the third question you asked, yes, the monitoring will be ongoing as it is for other such licenses. Thank you, Madam President, and I'll get the other answers for you. So, Madam President, to answer about how we would invite proposals, companies can approach government, but they have to go through a rigorous process of evaluation. The BDA will promote this and the RA will support it. For the next question, in these cases of those who have approached, they will look to provide power to Bermuda. Each case is different. The IRP will allow to change them to participate. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Senator Lindsay Simmons. Were there any supplementary questions from anyone? No. Then Senator Lindsay Simmons, then you'll do your second reading.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I move that the bill entitled the Electricity Amendment Act 2022 be now read a second time.
Is there any objection to that motion? No objection.
Madam President, I move that Rule 26 be suspended in respect to this bill.
Is there any objection to that motion? No objection.
Madam President, I move that the bill entitled the Electricity Amendment Act 2022 be now read a third time.
Is there any objection to the third reading? No objection.
Thank you. Madam President, I move that the bill do now pass.
It has been moved that the bill entitled the Electricity Amendment Act 2022 do now pass. Is there any objection to that motion? No objection. The bill is passed. Thank you, Senator Lindsay Simmons, and to all senators who participated. We'll now move on to our third item on the orders of the day, and that is consideration of the draft lease agreement between the government of Bermuda, the Ministry of Public Works, and Gorham Limited. And that's in the name of Senator O.K. Darrell, the Junior Minister for Public Works. Senator Darrell, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Good morning.
Good morning.
Madam President, I move that the Senate do now take under consideration the draft lease agreement between the government of Bermuda, represented by the Ministry of Public Works, and Gorham's Limited regarding areas of all the property shown hatched in red on the plan labeled sheet number 4533-008-10, dated the 27th of January 2020, which is attached to the lease agreement.
Is there any objection to that motion? No objection. Senator Darrell, carry on.
Madam President, thank you. Madam President, honorable members of the Senate, I introduce the leasing agreement between the Bermuda government and Gorham's Limited for the period of 99 years. Madam President, in the 2020 election platform, the government promised to support our local community and sporting clubs in upgrading their respective facilities. I'm here to say that this is just one step of the many to accomplish this goal. Madam President, honorable colleagues of the Senate may recall in February of 2021, the government announced the leasing of a strip of land bordering St. John's Field and Gorham's Limited Yard. This agreement is another example of when both the government and the business sectors work together. We can manifest substantial benefits for the community at large. Madam President, as the lease details, Gorham's have agreed to spend $350,000 to regrade and resurface the government's adjoining St. John's Field, which includes flood prevention, suitable water catchment, and a minimum regulatory playing area for recreational sporting activities. Gorham's has further agreed to donate a minimum of $150,000 towards the renovation or rebuilding of the existing clubhouse on the said field, more commonly known as the Western Stars Sports Club, to provide technical resources to assist with the preparation of plans and drawings, including engineering plans and reports as necessary for the construction of a new boundary wall on the adjoining property, with the value of such resources and related items to be a maximum of $45,000. To assist the tenants of the adjoining property with the design and costing of additions to the existing clubhouse on adjoining property or new related construction, including design options, quantity surveying, and establishment of a workable budget for the same, with the value of such assistance to be a maximum of $7,500. And to assist with promotional efforts, marketing, and contact with other relevant organizations to secure funding for the facilities and the operation of the community and sporting programs of the tenants of the adjoining property, with the value of such assistance not to exceed $5,000. Simply put, Gorham's has committed to an amazing $557,500 to support one of the area's community clubs. Madam President, in turn, the government leases a portion of the land adjacent to Gorham's, measuring a total area of 0.61 acres for 99 years. This land will be paved over with asphalt to improve access to the store, thus improving service for its customers and the community. Madam President, this agreement truly supports this administration's ideal of a progressive society. I would first like to thank the Board of Directors and the management of Gorham's Limited, who without them, this would not be possible. I'd also like to thank the Board of the Western Stars Community Club and all technical officers who have worked tirelessly on this initiative. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Senator Owendell. Would any senator care to speak on this lease agreement? Senator DeCuto, you have the floor.
Thank you, Thank you, Madam President. We are certainly pleased to support this initiative. We see it as a win-win approach to furthering sport in Bermuda. Certainly, we know that the government is very tight on funds and does not have many funds to spare. So I congratulate their creativity in allowing Gorham's to support the sports club in this way and to get a benefit themselves. We certainly look forward to seeing the Western Stars field in action and busy with training and competition as we drive by. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator DeCuto. Would any other senator care to speak on this lease agreement? Senator Michelle Simmons, Vice President, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. I'll be very brief. I, too, would like to support this lease agreement between the government and Gorham's. It's a wonderful, wonderful idea. We can see clearly how the community will benefit. We see that Gorham's will benefit. So it's a win-win. It's very impressive that a private entity is willing to commit $557,000 to assist their neighbor, a sports club. And I would just like to encourage other entities in the community that have resources that can be used to support the rebirth or the rejuvenation of some of our local organizations to do so. Step up, step forward. I'm sure your overtures will be well received. So thank you to Gorham's. Thank you to the government for this innovative plan. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Senator Michelle Simmons. Would any other senator care to speak on this lease agreement? Hearing none, then it's over to you, Senator Darrell.
Madam President, I move that the said draft lease agreement be approved.
Is there any objection to that motion? No objection. The lease agreement is approved. Thank you, Senator Darrell, and thank you all senators who have participated. We now move on to item number 14, motions. There are none. Item number 15, congratulatory and or obituary speeches. The floor is open.
Yes, Madam President.
Minister Peets.
Yes, thank you, Madam President.
You have the floor.
All of us are aware, of course, of the passing of Sister Olga Scott, wife of former Premier Alex Scott, mother to Robin, Eve, and our beloved Minister, Lawrence Scott, Minister of Transportation. We certainly invite Senate to join with me in sending our prayers and condolences to the family. I didn't know her really, really well, but I have met her, of course, over her illustrious career on a few occasions. She was beloved by all, and in the words of our current premier, she was a kind and compassionate woman who exemplified the essence of public service. So certainly on behalf of the government Senate team and my entire family, I certainly want to wish condolences and best wishes and sympathies during this time to the Scott family.
Thank you, Minister Beats. Would any other senator care to speak? Senator Michelle Simmons, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to join with Minister Peets in extending condolences to the family of the late Mrs. Olga Scott, OBE. She came to Bermuda in 1967, specifically to spearhead a youth development program. We knew it by its initials, YHED, Youth, Health, Education, and Development. The focus of the program was really to try and help the young people of Bermuda to focus on things which would benefit them in the long term in their lives. Really, it was a program where she had to win the trust of the entire community in order for this family planning educational program to be successful. It was difficult, but she did. She won the support of the community. And I think one of the huge benefits of the YHED program was that young people who found themselves in the family way could return to school and complete their education. But to do that, Mrs. Scott had to enlarge the staff at YHED. She had to seek volunteers, and all of this over a 21-year period as executive director was her passion. She continued to serve the board at YHED, which became Teen Services eventually. And I believe there's a 50-year track record there of service. So the community has lost a very valuable contributor, but the Scott family has lost their matriarch. I always found Mrs. Scott to be very dignified, principled, compassionate, caring. And it's so true that her work in this community changed many lives. So I pray that her family can find some peace in knowing that her contributions have made a difference, although that won't take the sting of her loss away. Madam President, I'd also like to extend condolences to the family of one of my classmates. He's well known, or he was well known in the community, probably best known in the city of Hamilton, because this is where he lived for most of his life. And this is where many of us had a chance to interact with him. I'm referring to Keith Clarence MacDonald Gordon. He was my classmate at Central School and also at the Barclay Institute. Our lives were kind of on a parallel because Keith grew up on Victoria Street and I grew up on Church Street, and we could look across at each other's houses. He was witty. He was intelligent, always wanting to stop and have a chat. My last encounter with him was in Fagan's Alley, just around the time of his 70th birthday. And it was such a pleasure to be able to stop and have a chat with him about things that we remembered from our school days. I would ask that we extend condolences to his family, all of his siblings, his daughter, and especially two of his sisters who have had prominent roles in the community, former Premier Dame Pamela Gordon Banks, and also the Honorable Patricia Gordon Pamplin. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Senator Michelle Simmons. Would any other senator care to speak? Yes, Reverend Senator Reverend Dill, you have the floor. Dr. Emily
morning.
Dill. Good morning.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to take the opportunity this morning to congratulate Ms. Suzette Harvey and the United Dance Productions on their 30-year anniversary. Certainly, as we look at the history of United Dance Productions, we'd like to celebrate the work that Suzette Harvey has done in this community. And when I look at her, I always say that she somehow sparked a dance revolution. For when she came back from school, she had a vision of this elite art form that seemed to have been reserved to a smaller segment of society, that she was able to provide it to individuals from all walks of life. And now when you see and you hear United Dance Productions, just watching them recently in the parade, at the Bermuda Day parade, and the army almost of dancers that came forward. And certainly I have seen how the work of Suzette Harvey, you don't just see it in the cultural segment, but even the work that she has done has actually spilled into every segment of our community. So I want to commend her for the work that she's done over the years, and we wish United Dance Productions continued growth and success as they go forward. I'd like to also at this time take the opportunity to congratulate the Reverend Dr. Larry Dixon on his retirement from active service in the African Methodist Episcopal Church. Reverend Dixon, who is a native of Georgia, actually began his journey as a pastor here in the island of Bermuda some 46 years ago as a pastor of our mother church, St. John AME Church in Bailey's Bay. After leaving Bermuda, he went on to serve in the U.S. in several congregations, and then was elevated to the office of presiding elder. And ironically, he ended his journey as in the itinerant ministry as the presiding elder of the West District here in the Bermuda Conference. He completed his service last week and is now back overseas, but we would like to send congratulations to him on his journey, which was full circle in this community, and wish him the best in his retirement, as well as congratulating the Reverend Howard Dill on his appointment as the presiding elder of the East-West District of the Bermuda Conference. Certainly, we look forward to his leadership in this church as it transitions and meets the demands of this age. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Senator Dr. Emily Dill. Would any other senator care to speak? Senator Takuto, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. This moment in our day, for me, is always a reminder of how full of life and accomplishment Bermuda is, whether we be congratulating ahead or we be remarking on those we've lost. So I just wanted to note that. I would also like to associate myself with all the comments regarding Olga Scott and with the condolences to the Scott family, as well as to the condolences on the passing of Mr. Keith Gordon and to his family as well. I'd like to send condolences to the family of Peter Durhager, who passed at age 80, especially his son Peter and wife Ann and their family at Warwick. Mr. Durhager Sr. was quite a sportsman, a traveler, and he was what we would call today a waterman, busy spearfishing, catching lobsters, swimming, water skiing, and so forth. And he was quite a dynamic individual, so I'd like to relay my condolences to that family. I'd like to relay my condolences to the family of Colin Golder, who unfortunately perished in a man overboard incident during the recent race to Bermuda. Mr. Golder was a 10 times participant in that race. He was a highly experienced skipper, and that means he's probably been coming to this island for 20 to 30 years. And it's a reminder that even a recreational race like that has its perils. But again, I'd like to relay our condolences to Mr. Golder's family. If I turn to positive news, I'd like to congratulate all the participants in the Newport Bermuda race who are now celebrating their arrival in the various ways. I'd especially like to congratulate the Bermuda boats, the Spirit of Bermuda, skippered by Alex Peacock, Nasty Medicine, skippered by Dr. Steve Sherwin, and Crossfire, skippered by Bermudian Brian Hillier. Now hopefully I've got this right. It does change as they run the numbers, but I believe Crossfire came third in their class, which is a very good accomplishment, and 25th out of 108 in what we call the St. David's division, which is the most prestigious division of that race. So I'd like to congratulate all of them and remark on what a boost to Bermuda's tourism all of these visitors are, and how nice it is to see them all enjoying our natural beauty and hospitality. I'd also like to remark on the boat Argo, which those of you know set a new record of 33 hours sailing to Bermuda, which is pretty amazing because I don't think you could do it in a motorboat that fast. I have a theme in these congratulations. You've probably figured it out. I'd like to thank I'd like to congratulate Ben Smith and Christian Eben, his cousin, for their astounding victory in the 78th Edward Cross long distance comet race. I believe they finished with a 3-minute lead. And as youngsters, I think they've probably shaken up some of the long-standing champions in that class. And I knew that race had been around a long time, but 78 years is pretty amazing. And it's a testament to, frankly, the Black Bermudian sailors who, against all odds, created their own community when they were not allowed to participate in the other communities. And finally, I'd like to congratulate Sebastian Kemp and Nicole Stovall, who each recently competed in the UK Youth National Sailing Championships and each won their respective classes. For those of you who don't follow that, you should understand that in the UK, their sailing is very, very competitive. And we already know that those two are sailing at a world level, and this is further proof of it. And I'm going to paraphrase a quote that I read from him, just to give you an idea of the mindset. He came second in the first race, and I believe his comment was, well, that race didn't go as I had planned. So I hope that they keep them up, because next month, both of them will be competing in the Youth World Championships in their respective classes. And I would send in advance our best wishes for their success there. And as a reminder, Sebastian is the returning champion in that. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Senator Douglas DeCuto. Would any other senator care to speak? Senator Owen Darrell, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I'd just like to first start off by asking that we send condolences to the family of Mr. John Hodip III. Mr. Hodip, as some individuals would know, was a ardent supporter of the Progressive Labor Party, and I got to know him as I was the chairman of the party at one time, Madam President. And also, I don't know how he got my number after that. Maybe I gave it to him. But Mr. Hodip used to constantly call me and offer his ideas and his plans and things that can make his community better. So I know he was laid to rest about a week ago, or 10 days ago. And I just like condolences to be sent to his family, mainly his siblings. And on a more positive and happier note, Madam President, I'd like to congratulate 12 members of what we will call newly educators who have just completed, as of yesterday, the Bermuda Teacher Inductee program. And I was due to attend yesterday, and at the last minute I was unable. But I'd like to publicly congratulate those 12 members. I do not have their names at this time, but I will come back and probably have a ministerial statement on this. But I did want to say congratulations to them. The Bermuda Teacher Inductee program is something that I'm very familiar with, and I enjoyed the 2 years that I spent in that. And what it is when you come in as an educator, you have a mentor. The mentor teacher shows you the ropes of being an educator in the Bermuda public school system. And it's really rewarding and refreshing to be with your cohort for 2 years, share stories. And it's always fun times after the 2 years. It's kind of, they call you at that point, they kind of call you a veteran teacher, and they release you on your own. So congratulations to those 12 educators, and I will have their names. And as the next weeks and days go on, we will have lots of congratulations when it comes to education. I know this is the final week of the Bermuda Public Schools being in, and I talk to my children every night and every day. Right now, it's a beach, it's a field trip, it's something else, and those are important. I did see a comment from an educator, unfortunately, that they felt it was a babysitting service, and I disagree. I think that the outings that our public school students are going on during this week, to immerse them in the culture, and some things that unfortunately some of the students in the public school system may not ordinarily get exposure to. I want to thank the teachers that are arranging these field trips and exposing our young people, before they go off to summer break and graduations and moving to different schools and things of that nature. So I want to congratulate everyone in education as the school year does come to a conclusion, and we start to celebrate many, many, many accomplishments. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Senator Darrell. I think that's everyone who's wanted to speak. I would just like to join in the sentiments that have been expressed for the passing of Mrs. Olga Scott, who was a personal friend of my husband and mine over many years. I am very close to the family, and certainly Honorable Alex Scott and his daughter, Robin, and her family, as well as Minister Lawrence Scott. It's been a very difficult time for them because of the suddenness of the passing, but I want to join in the expressions of sympathy that has been expressed, and to certainly express my own for the entire family. I would also like to offer condolences to the family of Judith Swan, the wife of Rick Swan and sister of Patsy. She obviously, I think most people have heard about Trot Drapery, and that was run by her mother, and she certainly did that for many years. And she's being funeralized as we speak, in fact, in Paget. So I would just like to join in the sentiments that have been expressed by others, and acknowledge that. Sorry, it's a bit difficult for me this morning. With all that said, now we'll move then to item number 16 on our agenda, which is the adjournment. Minister Peets.
Thank you, Madam President. I motion that Senate adjourn to Wednesday, July 6th.
Would any senator care to speak on the motion to adjourn? Hearing none, then senators. Senate stands adjourned until July the 6th.